you can throw a stone at something. You can throw a stone and get a fruit. So that then actually if you shape this stone into a particular form, it's more effective than a natural stone. So from there we convert a stone into a tool. I'm going to come to that. It's a natural quality. It is something that it's a quality that externalized. A quality that is always we are in that sensibility. We are prosthetic beings. We need something other than us to survive. Facilitate tools. So in that sense, every human being is a prosthetic being. So for instance, a tool, if we see that there is a we can that if you sharpen this thing, that it can be more effective. Then we say that if you tie that thing into a stick, we have more protection from the animal that we are hunting. So we keep on developing these technologies. The only point I am trying to say is that the quality here is that it's not a natural quality. It is something that we learn through technique. Language for that matter. Every animal has a language. They communicate. But our language is the only language that is externalized. Otherwise, people learn language. The animals have a language that is like either genetic language. For instance, a migratory bird can actually travel from very distant place to a particular land and go back to that. But that knowledge is really embedded in their body itself. There are genetic codes that they can never read. But our language, on the other hand, our language is that something externalized. We can learn language. We can teach language. That's the difference between. So language is the biggest technology that can be invented. It's a codified language, a repeatable language that we have created that can be communicated, translated. So we can. So the three things that I just want to before I stop. I just want you to keep in mind. So the language also has to be understood. So in terms of so language is one of the most important technology that enabled human being to form communities, to externalize knowledge. For instance, every time you won't actually you won't make fire, right? Because we have a repository of knowledge. We start from that repository. We want to start from the beginning, unlike the animal. Animal actually begin from the start each time. We as a human being, we never start from the beginning. We always indicate that we have a recursive existence. Let me explain that. That will be the last point that I want to make before we break for the lunch. There are three types of retentions that we have. Whenever I am speaking something, I'm just delivering something through language. That's a primary retention. I'm just actually speaking something that I am thinking and just trying to articulate it through language. Right? Whenever you hear it, what happens is that you understand not necessarily what I am saying. You understand it is a secondary retention. Whatever already that you know, you compare with that your memory. You connect that thing with your experience or memory, and you make meaning out of it. That is secondary retention. So even though I am saying something, how do you understand that is through a secondary retention? Because you have your own experiences, your own understanding. You connect with what I am saying with whatever already that in your memory. Only whatever you can recall immediately, you connect with that memory and make meaning of what I am saying. So in that sense, there is a secondariness to what you are doing. Because you are connecting that what I am saying with your own experience or whatever in your memory. But writing, on the other hand, is a tertiary retention. It is writing actually. What does writing actually mean? Writing actually means that in my absence also a meaning can exist. you write something, speech always want my presence. Without my presence, I cannot speak. But writing is that something enable us to be absent, but it is present. So the writing is a tertiary retention. You can write even though I am not here, that you can read and you can connect with your secondary retention and you can make meaning out of it. So writing is the biggest tool that we have. So you have to keep in mind these three aspects. A primary retention, that is like you are speaking. Secondary retention is that something that you connect whatever you have already in your memory, that you recall and you connect with what I am speaking and making sense of it. The tertiary retention, that is happens to writing. So writing is the most important thing. Writing is one of the major techniques that enabled the evolution of human being as the dominant being. I can explain that next. What exactly writing has produced? Writing has produced some kind of a grammatization of our thinking. So before writing, there is no understanding of the grammatization of the word. The writing actually required some kind of a conditioning, some kind of a unification of language. And because everybody has to make meaning. If I write something, if it does not have a grammar, if it does not have you cannot make meaning out of it. Because you cannot ask me back what it is. It has to have a particular more defined, ordered form in order to be a tertiary retention. Without grammatization, the writing cannot exist. With writing, what happens is that the language becomes more and more codified, more and more standardized. Okay? Because the language was there, but with writing, there is a standardization process began. Because it's a tool that works in the absence of its maker. Because of that, it needs to follow certain rules. Then only it can actually function in the absence of who is writing. So which is something that is foundational to human civilization. But what is more important in our context, not in technology context, is that with printing technology, it becomes much more interesting. The proper grammatization of the word, the proper homogenization of the word happens with the printing technology. How once we start the printing, the text. Printing is where actually the knowledge becomes a common resource. Without printing, without the invention of printing, language was actually, or knowledge was actually something that is actually held by a few. With printing, actually what happens is that there is a further standardization of actually the language happens. A simple example would be that, if you look at something like Kerala itself, actually, people who are in this part of the state speaks more like a newspaper language in comparison to people who are towards north or the south. Same Malayalam, but we have a different way because we actually speak a language that is like more homogenized, more a textbook language or a newspaper language. But people actually in other part of India may not actually follow, but whenever they write, they actually follow the newspaper language, the textbook language that we follow. We speak differently, but we write similarly, type similarly. For instance, today in digital age, actually we get suggestions actually from the AI itself that there is a grammatical structural problem in your sentence and so on and so forth. There is a much more structurization happens. The printing technology is a very crucial thing that we will discuss later, but I'm just going to mark it here. Printing technology, what happens? With the printing technology, that the knowledge become referential. The knowledge become, how do we do research? Because in a printing, what happens, unlike a handwritten thing, depending upon how big you write, how small you write, what kind of handwriting that you have, what kind of material that you use, the size of the book will change. You can't really have a page number. But in printing, what happens is that in printing, you can have a singular book, and you can say that page number 20, this edition. Every book will be having the same page in 40 because it is printed, it is machinized. Our modern of research, education, everything came along with printing technology. People actually kind of argue that with printing technology came, nations. The imagined community is really created through printing technologies because we read the same news. From the newspaper, for example, we read the same language, even though we speak differently. We have a same language. Everybody read the same news, wherein which we actually have a sense of a unified community will emerge. A linguistic community will emerge. Even though the linguistic community have variations in their speech acts, there is a unified linguistic community is produced through today what is known as print capitalism. Print capital. So printing became a major element from Gutenberg onwards. It's called Gutenberg Revolution onwards. You can see that there is a different way of ordering the world as happened. A different way of actually grammatizing the world as happened. A different way of systematizing the world as happened. So printing technology is a crucial technology, and again, the work of art in the age of mechanical reproduction actually touches upon that particular aspect. What reproduction has actually brought into human experience, not in terms of grammatization of the word, but more in terms of, especially in terms of the invention of photography and film, moving images. That's what is Benjamin's context. But we have to have a background in the printing in order to begin that text, which we will discuss in detail later. The other text that we are going to deal, that is Martin Heidegger's question concerning technology, which is again a rumination, a philosophical rumination on the question of technology. Not from the point of view which I was kind of talking about technology at this point in time, but more from the problem of the technological self, especially in the modernity and the modern period. And how this technological self actually kind of condition us to see the entire world as a resource. How do we use technology as a tool to make everything usable? So we see the world only in terms of its usability. We lose certain ability to see the world beyond what is usable. We won't see a mountain, we only see the rocks, we only see the trees. We lost the ability to see the world outside the ambit of the resource, what is the usefulness. It can be not only necessarily the usefulness of what is good or what is, we won't get free, we will see the good. Things like that. So that is the kind of argument that we will be discussing. So is there a possibility of actually seeing the world beyond as a resource? This is the one question that we are going to do. So in the sense that technology is sort of how to think about technology beyond an instrument, or how to think about technology beyond instrumental rationality. Technology as a tool to exploit something, tool to do something. How to think about technology more integrated way, more immersive way. That is the one debate that we are going to do. Third text that is going to be a very, very frightening text. In the sense that What is an Apparatus by Agamben. This is a text that actually can say that there is no good way of using technology. Technology is essentially produced in order to enslave human beings. Even though human being thinks that we are the one producing technology, we are actually produced by technology. We are conditioned by technology, controlled by technology, and so on and so forth. So it's like saying that there is a good way of using mobile phone. Mobile phone actually conditions you. Mobile phone is invented in order to condition you in a particular way. kind of a very darkened picture of the technology that we will be discussing when we talk about Agamben. So these are three texts that we are going to look very carefully. Along with that, we are going to the text I haven't separated yet. I'm going to do it once the workshop actually begins. It is a text by this group called Forensic Architecture, the British group. So there is a book called Forensis. This is a group of artists, architects, musicians, philosophers, etc. But they developed a new kind of practice. So that is an investigative practice for art. So which we will be discussing as that's going to be one of the practical component of our workshop. I will be also, once I finish, like once we finish discussing the Benjamin's text, I want you to undertake certain exercises. I will assign you to do certain things to bring back to the classroom to discuss. The practical projects that you have to undertake once we understand the text in detail. So it's going to evolve it so that I have a exercise ready and I'm going to give you to do it. Whenever we discuss the text, what is energy, accordingly we will think about the practical exercises. So let's start the afternoon with Benjamin's text. I hope all of you have managed to at least look through the text. So let us have a little more detailed discussion about the text, which may lead us to think about a practical exercise for the problem. Yeah? Okay, then we can have a break now and we'll rejoin around 2:30. 2:30 we can rejoin. And we're certainly going to change this setup and we're going to make it a little more interactive because I want all of you to read the text and discuss it. So this format won't help that. So to come back, we can, this is a kind of a typical classroom kind of a format. Which also has a history, it's also like here is a person of Michel Foucault. He's a French philosopher. He said that in the modern period, this particular architectural model, this is like replicated everywhere. He calls kind of the word that he uses for a model that he says that it's a kind of a model that controlled every system, from prison to classrooms to industry to everywhere, where generally teacher is standing on top. So that I can see all of you. It's also, I can surveil you, how you behave, and so on and so forth. It's always that kind of a system. So it's always in a particular shape where which everything I can see. I can actually have I can monitor and so on and so forth. Like a factory supervisor can monitor a person, a system through which I can see everything. So that is the way in which these classrooms are produced to discipline you. So let us change this tack a little bit, sit together and have a more informal session in the afternoon. Otherwise I can keep on lecturing you and it will be very boring, one. So let us avoid that and try to create something our own in the afternoon.
So,